shot up. That is in. Burns the win. Have room to run. Also, this is champion. Toronto is both there. Henry is clock running down. Walnut Grove basketball.
You guys waiting on anybody to talk to? I just want to bring this up if you got time for it.
Sure. You can share Deputy talk. He wants to bring something up too.
Yeah. So you guys wanted the list of places that Enterprise can service through their maintenance contract. I've got a conservative list, which, like they said, they could do other stuff. This isn't a 25-mile radius as far as Big O Tires, Valvoline, and Moore's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Quick Car, and Moore's Ford. Ford Gunner with Cars, which they typically do everything on a car. Car X, Cole and Sons, Pit Lane Super Lube, and that's within a 25-mile radius. So if we need something more extensive, they can extend that radius. As far as maintenance goes, when we go into so I think there was a little bit of a misconception when we were talking to Brock the other day from Enterprise. I think that the conception you guys were getting was that we pay them for a maintenance cost, but then we also pay the maintenance, like separate. Okay. He assured me that was incorrect, and then he didn't realize there was a misconception. So the money that goes into the maintenance is for overall. It's an estimated maintenance, and that is programmed into the budget. So that way, when we have maintenance on the cars, it goes out. If we start with a smaller fleet, we can incorporate all our old vehicles into that maintenance budget, but it goes up because those vehicles are older, so the expected cost is higher. But it's one of those things where we can take our maintenance line for next year and put it into the fleet budget line, which is $80,000.
Yeah, that's what Gene was looking at.
So for instance, if we have 8 vehicles that are leased, if you minus your fuel, you're looking at a maintenance cost of expected like 90 because of how old the vehicles are. Now that's, of course, there's going to be an equity for the trade-in of whatever 8 vehicles we trade in, which is expected to be a conservative estimate of $24,000. So you're looking at like possibly gaining back $24,000 of that. But the problem is that you run into this is the less vehicles you start with, the more you're going to pay in maintenance because you have older vehicles. So it's a give and take.
Because you still got old cars.
So like the more vehicles that we get initially, it costs more face value, but we save more money in maintenance in the long run. And that's normally what a lot of places see after you get into this and from year to year. You see the savings in maintenance, and that's what we save. I was just trying to see if there's any other information you need, or if you guys would be.
So you're talking, let's say one of these new 8 cars that we get, or one of the old cars breaks down, and you're talking about 100% of that maintenance is paid through this?
Yes, so they do, it's all through their program. So that would all go to their qualified dealers, and the money is still coming out of our budget. So our whatever fleet budget we have, the maintenance is built into that for an expected cost.
Correct.
Okay, so expected doesn't necessarily mean we'll need it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be right. They take mileage, how hard it's been used, and they say these things are probably something that might come up that needs to be fixed. That's not to say that we don't have one of our personal vehicles that, an engine explodes in it and it's going to cost $3,000 whatever to replace them. We're like, no, we can't do that. So, I mean, it's an expected ratio.
Correct. Okay.
And it's still up to us. It's just when we get into the maintenance contract with Enterprise, we get their locked-in rates with their approved mechanics, and they get like discounted rates, and they can kind of help budget that money out better. But we still get the approval of whether or not we're going to get something fixed when it comes to our personally owned stuff. And then they'll recommend maintenance on the leased vehicles, so that way they stay within qualifications, so that way they're still good for resale after the turn back in.
So on the lease, there is a portion of that is put aside for maintenance.
Yes. So if you're looking at the total leased amount, like say we come into this with $150,000, right? Which is a conservative estimate because the initial for like 28 car fleets, 250, 260. What you're also taking into account in there is your upfit costs for your vehicles, and the cost to lease the vehicles, and the maintenance for the vehicles. So the only thing they're not including is fuel, because we're not doing a fuel budget with them because we get a better deal through WEX or whatever it is that we have now. So everything else is included in there. So it's not like, oh, now we're gonna have to pay that cost to upfit it. Oh, now we're gonna have to pay costs to pay people and have a separate budget. It's all included in it. So it'd be one budget line for all that crap.
Except fuel.
Except for fuel. Because we get a better deal through the state cards, WEX, I think it is, that we get.
We use WEX.
So on that, do we know what the dollar amount is of the lease for each vehicle that is put towards maintenance?
Yeah, so they can break it all down. So like, if you're talking about like current maintenance, this is one that he brought up for me, and this would be like covering our entire fleet. So all our old vehicles. So like I said, the maintenance cost goes up as we cover the older vehicles. But there is a dollar amount that they assign to it. It's like a proposed, I think it's $88 here. It's the proposed maintenance.
There's a proposed maintenance on that. Some are 100, some are 73, some are 63, some are 48.
And that's a loan.
So on that, would that say that there's 118,300 put into a maintenance fund to draw off of for maintenance?
Essentially, yeah, if you want to break it down like that, it's all coming from the same pool of money. And like I said, it's an estimation, so they can't foresee.
Second line is maintenance on there, on what he had sent me.
And then, so that one that James got, you can actually go in there and you can reprogram it, like, oh, I want this many cars, and it shows you what number you're gonna get. And those are all from their statistics and analytics through the entire nation on like
That's the
what they
cost for the
see.
vehicles,
They
that's
also
the
get that
maintenance.
information from law enforcement agencies that they list to, so they know how many miles they get. Because they know that these cars get higher idle times. They know that they have harder run times. So they're putting in extra money to pad that because they know this thing's racing. So like the maintenance costs, especially like say, if we get this up and running in like 4 or 5 years from now, as we keep adding vehicles to it, if we get other vehicles that are not for patrol or whatever, they have a softer miles on them, so the maintenance cost is going to be estimated lower because, you know, you're talking about day-to-day driving, unless it's like a county vehicle that's going to be like a high idle time, like road and bridge, where they're going to be getting in and out. You know, they're going to work that in there so they can get it just right for us. So I know you guys weren't opposed to the idea of possibly starting out with like 6 to 8. And I talked to you guys about we won't have to start paying this money until next year's budget because we won't receive any of those vehicles till next year. I'm just trying to see if we can get a contract started, which we can then choose to terminate if things go south. But the most important thing on our end with Enterprise is to see if I can get you guys' blessing to start a contract so I can start seeing if we can order vehicles, because the sooner we can do that, the sooner we'll see the benefit of it. I didn't know if there's like any questions you guys had or anything else I can assist you guys with.
I mean, the only thing, I was just talking with the sheriff the other day, I mean, I think I would kind of like to see just the cost of, if you went out here and
The comparison.
ordered six or eight Ford trucks with full extended warranties on them.
Okay. Like from the local dealership?
Yeah.
I mean, I could try to get you that cost representative, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably not going to be as good as what we get through Enterprise with state bid, or it'll be the same. I mean, and typically when we order from these dealerships, what we end up getting is not these rated vehicles.
No, you gotta order.
And we do, and then the order gets changed, or we don't get what we ordered.
What, you don't take them?
I don't ever remember us ordering a police-rated truck.
Don't take them.
So it's just one
They
of those.
just ordered a truck.
And then
they
you're also
put-
talking about when you're pulling from Enterprise, they have a larger area that they can pull. So, I mean, we can get those numbers if you want. It's just gonna delay everything a little bit longer, and then we're gonna have to take.
Well, availability too, is Enterprise gets the vehicles, so whereas these dealers can't even get them.
And Enterprise.
But you gotta show that whenever you show what you're doing on this. So you got this contract, but you check anything else? Well, yeah, we did this here. Like when audits come and things like that, you gotta have something that shows. You look at a second area,
Kinda like bids.
yes, same thing. Yes.
Well, I can try again.
You can go to
The issue
Mike
I'm having is
Freeman.
nobody emails me back.
You can go up to Mike Freeman's, just drop in and see Mike Freeman, like a Ford, with the police rated vehicles. And with the lease, we can, I can talk to Mike over here and he can get all that. We can lease him through, like we did the first round. That ain't no big deal. Just getting the vehicle you want, you gotta talk to Mike, cause Mike's gotta pull up, cause he can pull up the police rated. That's what I had to do for the other ones we bought that time. Cause they come with the bigger,
There's a lot of that.
brakes. You know, the brakes are a lot beefier on them, the suspension is.
Well, on the police vehicles, they're.
Yeah, correct.
There's a lot of
And he can get a lot of things added to the vehicle.
It's like our Dodges, they have.
He can add whatever you want.
Special brakes on them, the
On
ceramic
that,
brakes.
cause they got a police section.
They have the vintage
And
rotors,
they can add everything from lights to,
suspension.
There's a bunch of
heavier.
crazy stuff
So
on
the
it.
other benefit of going through Enterprise, and the reason I'm trying to push hard for that is because when I go through a local vendor like this, we have local vendor issues. They order from the factory just like Enterprise does. The other big benefit of Enterprise is when we go through Enterprise, we get them to help us with the analytics on maintenance, on cost. They do those things for us. So I mean,
yeah.
being the size department we are, it's more difficult for me to properly maintain a fleet if we're going through a local vendor and buying 1 to 2 a year, and depending on whether or not he can get that. I mean, if you guys want the cost comparison, we can do that.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Okay. I can get that too.
The other
The
thing-
longer we take on this, the longer it's gonna be before we see any
I know,
benefit.
we have the same thing with our dump trucks and everything else, you know.
Yes.
Other thing I wanted to tell you guys is, you just had an auction, got rid of a bunch of vehicles. Is all your insurances dropped on all your vehicles you sold?
Not mine.
Yes.
Hopefully, we're working on that. Yes, we had updated the list, and I told him what to take off, but we got cards on vehicles that were still, they were on the
I know
auction.
we
so-
went through an extensive list for that in our shed.
Yeah, about 8 years ago, we found a whole bunch of them still on the list that we didn't even have.
That'd save quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
All those off.
If you're paying insurance, something you're not even using or it's gone.
Sure.
So how many places do you need to contact?
Just one more.
Which one would you prefer?
If you're doing Ford, go to Ford, go see Mike. Cause Mike can get you a pretty accurate.
They're usually pretty quick, they're quicker than
He's
the
quick.
rest of them
Yeah,
too,
Mike's quick.
to get the information back.
Any other information that you guys need before you can make a decision?
No, I would just say.
Bruce Parrish, is Bruce still over?
Yeah, Bruce over at Chevy, you might, if you're looking at Tahoes or some other kind of
Check with him.
Chevrolet, you might check with Bruce.
They're local.
Well, I said, I would, cause they'll do a extended warranty package, maintenance package too, you know, and just see how comparable it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys needed as far as information before you have to make a decision?
Oh, I know.
So we'll get from Chevrolet to Ford then.
All right, I'll get the information for you as soon as I can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shot up, that is in, Burns the win! Have room to run. Also district champion. Toronto, Henry are both there. Henry is